Hello everyone, welcome to VGrow Technologies channel. So in the AWS knowledge series session, uh, we are going to see about our load balancer demo. So here we go. I have already created couple of EC2 instances which you would able to clearly see it here. I have two EC2 instances, one created with Ubuntu OS and another one is got created with um, Amazon Linux 2. Okay, so both the web servers are up and running. We can validate here. This is an Ubuntu based one, and the another one which is an Amazon Linux based one. So to get an input on how to create a new EC2 instances and enable the web server, please refer the previous videos. Okay, so on top of it, I have created a new health.html file which will give you, it will return just a message whether your web server is up or no, what is the status of the web server, right? So here if you can see, I have created health.html in both the both the servers, and the same will return only the okay, just to make sure like my web server is up and running. We can validate the same here, right? So these are all the prerequisites to configure and load balancer. So now if I can put health.html, I would see that the message has been okay. Similarly in the Ubuntu server as well, I can go and put an health.html and it will return the messages okay, which means my prerequisite steps are perfect and I would able to proceed with configuring and load balancer, right? So now in the left navigation screen, if you can go and check for the load balancer, I will click on this load balancer and I can create a load balancer. So in this demo, we are mainly going to see about how to create an application load balancer, right? Which is mainly the services, web servers, which is running on the port 80, which is mainly an layer 7 based protocol, right? So now here, this is my wizard first screen where I need to provide the load balancer name. I can provide, this is my demo load balancer. Basically, this is an internet facing. Okay, just to make sure like whether it is an internet facing or an internal, right? So based on that, user can configure and select the option. And then this is the port. Since it's an HTTP, the basic port will be an 80. And this is the VPC. The by default the Mumbai VPC, whatever we are working, right? So the same thing will get selected here, and we need to select an subnets or the availability zones, right? What are the availability zones which we have our EC2 instances? Okay, so I have my EC2 instances in availability zone 1A and availability zone 1B. So I have selected those two, and then I have selected the 1C as well. So which is something like whatever the zones which you are to plan, you can add it. Okay, so basically it will list you all the instances in that specific zone, and from that you need to create an target group to make sure like to define what all are the instances or the part of that specific target group. Okay, so next, this one is a kind of tags just to used for managing your AWS resources, which I can mention simply this is name, and I can mention that this is for demo load balancer, right? And then I can go and configure the security group. Is if your traffic of load balancer needs to be secure, use HTTPS. So just a kind of warning message, which is kind of giving you some warning that since you are using the HTTP and it's not an HTTPS, it throws some message. Okay, and here we can see like what is the security group which we need to use, right? It will list you all the security groups whatever I have in this specific VPC. So here I will go and create a new security group, and I will select HTTP is my protocol. I just selected HTTP as the protocol, and then I have created here. And if you want, I can change this name into demo load balancer security group, just to configure the routing and then targets. So here we can see there are two options will come, like if you have already created any of the target groups, it will give you an option to select it from the target groups whatever we have already created. or the other way is like in the wizard flow itself we can create a new target group. Since I don't have any target group, it only shows the new create a new target group. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new target group, which is demo target group, and basically I have list of instances. Okay, so the reason why we have created for the health.html is to make sure like your web server is up and running, right? So this load balancer will periodically validate by querying the health.html, and make sure like if it gets some response, then it will make the status of that specific instance as an healthy, otherwise it will make that specific instance status as an unhealthy, right? So ours health check file is in health.html, right? So this is the one which we are using, health.html, right? Yeah, so this is a file which we are planning to use it for the health, right? Oops, I will provide it here, health.html. Okay, and the rest of things is are like if you wanted to do some advanced settings, so especially what is the threshold, or how many times it needs to be up, at least it needs to get successfully 3 responses as okay, right? Then it will make that as an healthy. Or if similarly the unhealthy, right? If the continuous 2 responses are failed, then it will make that specific instances as an unhealthy. And what is the timeout interval? So all these kind of advanced level of configurations which we can able to do it here. So next step is to register the targets. So here what as we have selected earlier that what is the VPC and then availability zone, right? So based on that it will list you what all are the instances running on that specific region. So here I'm just selecting both the instances and I'm trying to add register, and I will review the same, right? So this give you some nice summary of our settings whatever we have created, and you can review the same and then you will be able to create it successfully. So as part of this, all the things as whatever we have given, like security group creation and then the target group creation, right? So everything will taken care, and I think yeah, it gives you the okay. So now we can close this and navigate to the load balancer. So it shows the provisioning, right? So meantime what we can do is we can go to these target groups and then we can see about the status of the target groups. So there are 2 instances which got registered here and both are in an initial state, and you would see the target registration is in progress. So here we go. So it takes some time, right? Since we have given as an 3 cycles, right? So 3 successful return, right? We will make it as an healthy. Okay, so after around it will take 30 seconds one, so it will take around 1.5 minute, right? It will mark that specific instance into an healthy state. So now what we can do is we can navigate to this load balancer and then we can see what is the status of the load balancer, right? So yeah, so here it turned to an active. So now what we can do is we can try to copy this DNS name and we can paste it here. Yeah, so here if you can see I'm kind of trying to launch the load balancer and I'm getting the response from the second instance, which is my Amazon Linux based instance, right? When I do a refresh, yeah, so now if you can see I'm just getting a response from Ubuntu machine, right? So the moment I refresh, right, I think now it is started catching the local data, so we are getting the response from the same one. So when the load increases, right, so it will automatically balance, and whatever the instances are registered in that specific target group, right, so all those instances will start responding to the requests. Okay, so now what we can do is we can try to make any of the instance down, in the sense, since here we are continuously getting the response from the Apache, right? So maybe what I will do is I will just copy the same and then we can try to launch the same from the Chrome browser, and then we can see which server is responding, right? So now here if you can see the Amazon Linux 2 server is started responding, and in the other session, right, the Ubuntu server is responding, right? So now what we can do is we can try to stop any of the instance, because we can't so now I will go to this EC2 dashboard, and I will select the specific uh, Ubuntu server, which is my demo Ubuntu server. I will stop it. So now when I try to refresh, it will hang because the Ubuntu server, right, it will not respond, since we have made that specific server as down, right? Now if you can see, if you can refresh here, only the AWS sorry, the Amazon Linux server will start responding to the queries. So now if you can see, again when I started refreshing the other server, right, it will start responding. At the same time, if you can go and see it in the target group, you will able to see the Ubuntu instance will marked as unhealthy, right, or which is kind of unused, right? It will turn to unhealthy and then it will move to the unused, right? So now again, if you can go and make that instance up and running, then it will add into the pool, and the status will get changed to healthy and it will start responding to the queries. So that's it about the load balancers, how to configure, and what are mainly into the application load balancer, right? So how to create and how to play with it, right? I hope this demo will be useful in for you to configure the load balancers. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe to this channel to get more demos about AWS and other technologies. Thank you.